my thoughts on the social media impact are a few. First, without social media, I don't think any of us would know anything about it. Like, the impact I think that social media had on it was huge. Like, I really believe that God was using that in a mighty way to reach and expand, to reach more eyeballs, to hit more people with it. The second thing that it kind of had me questioning was my own churchology when it comes to sharing social clips of those spiritual movements. Because I am one of those that, being in the Word of Faith movement, there are a lot of things that happened in the Word of Faith movement that us in that movement claim 100% is God. And there are so many that were on the outside looking in that were saying it's false, that it's demonic, that it is bad. And so that has let me build up a little bit of a guard, if you will, where I've just kind of, I don't know, I've kind of resisted a little bit. I've kind of held back for a second to not want to share those intense, intimate, really kind of, spiritual moments. I've really just held back on some of that personally. And because that's with our church where we don't do it. Like, when we were doing live streams, those that were in the back that were running the camera were on strict orders that you do not start the stream until I'm up there and I get ready to start the message. And once I finish the message prayer, if we start to do anything after that, you end the stream. Anything that is before and after is in an intimate setting. We're not sharing it because I don't want to have to deal with the trolls. I don't want to have to deal with the haters. I don't want to have to do any explanation, because some things that are by the Holy Spirit just can't be explained. You just have to experience it. That being said, I see everybody sharing what's going on at Asbury University, and I'm like, yeah, I mean, there were some haters, but I didn't even read most of the comments because I didn't care. Because what I saw and what I was distantly experiencing was powerful.
Yeah, I've been surprised, honestly. You and me talking here, I've been surprised with my reaction to it. Because we were just talking about passions and building social media around our passions, and where the balance is between that and income and all that stuff. But like, this is our passion, and there's an outpouring at bare minimum. There's an outpouring of the Spirit in that place, that body of believers, and I have yet to see an entire service from Asbury.
Right.
And what was surprising to me was that I actually cared more about the word of mouth than I did about the social media. Social media is going to be a part of it. There were clips, there's pictures of people being encountered. There were little nuggets that you would get that were highlighted and kind of cropped out. And I appreciated the people who did that, because it was cool to see, you're not sitting through the whole session. But even as a pastor who hungers and thirsts for an outpouring to happen, here type of a thing.
Yeah.
I didn't watch a lot of it, but I did feast like it was, daily manna type stuff on the stories that people came back who were there and in person. So the ones who drove out there were part of it, and I know them, and they gave me firsthand accounts of what they saw, what they felt, what they, how God encountered them. That was the stuff where I'm like, okay, there's a hush that falls upon my heart to go, come on. And then, and then what happened? And then what happened? Yeah. Then what did he do? Then what was it like? And so I didn't have the same sensation when viewing it online or catching a little thing. It was encouraging. Don't get me wrong. It was like, yes. And it was something that I could show the church and say, look, this is something like, this isn't it maybe, but this is something like what what we all long for. So that was cool. That it was shocking to me, because I thought I would just be glued to the tube and just watching every second of every service. And that may be like, after dinner's over, you go back for seconds and leftovers, whatever still remains. Yep. Kind of mop that up. I may do that still, but at current, I want the fresh, which to me just kind of speaks about how upside down and backwards I've viewed ministry, life and ministry. Like, how to get it out there on all the socials and do it just right. How to, because I'm just like you guys, or our church is very much like you guys. Wouldn't identify ourselves as Word of Faith folks, but we definitely have some Holy Spirit moments where he goes off script and he colors outside the lines, is what I call it. And people, we struggle to contain that or to properly express that in what may be publicly consumed online. It's, it's seemingly very intimate, just like what you were saying. It's very intimate. It seems like it's tailor-made for the moment. It's just from God to Susie, because we are a small church,
Yeah.
It's just a conversation between him and Felix, and he may share that out with the congregation, but it's not necessarily for worldwide consumption. And so to see that, to see what's going on, it's kind of reoriented me to say, oh, it is practical. When God shows up, word of mouth is still, for me, still primary.
Yeah.
When God encounters his people and their testimony goes racing out person to person across the globe, that's still the most, that's what you want.
Right.
That's the most powerful one. Second, if we happen to have a camera on, we could leave it on and allow the world to see the messy side, the side where he colors outside the lines a little bit more, because that seems to be what was emphasized. I don't remember any spectacular sermons coming out of there. Nobody got up and proclaimed. I mean, they did. They shared the gospel from time to time, but nobody got up and, as Jesse would say, prot. I don't remember any sermons that they prot.
Yep.
Anyway, but so leaving the camera on and harnessing social media, but really just letting God do what he wants to do, has reoriented me and reset me. The timing, and I know you haven't seen this movie, but the timing is eerie in this outpouring that happens in Asbury and the release of this, was it Jesus Revolution movie? Yeah. It's eerie in that how it calls back. This has been produced years in the making type of a thing, but how it calls back to this Jesus People movement and of young people, really, and how it's not like what the church expected, and how the movements of God are never like the church expects, and it is of God and from God and for God. And then there's a time where the people start to say, hey, that doesn't look like, it's just a part of how these things evolve. And I find it fascinating.